What's going on, guys? Today I am presenting a tool set that I wrote for Vbox. If you have log messages to file, if you're trying to deal with a car that maybe has some unknown information and you're trying to get it addressed, to try to help people get it addressed a little bit quicker than what they've conventionally used, right? In the past, you've had to rely on various people in some ways to try to get essentially some low-hanging fruit, probably some throttle position, some brake pressures, some vehicle speeds already embedded via GPS, maybe steering wheel angle, a few other things. And my goal is to make it a little bit easier for people to get that information. Now, the tool that I wrote basically takes canned messages and slices and dices them to where you have how frequent bits are changing, and how frequent those bits are changing kind of shows the scaling value. And then what it does is it takes that value and says, hey, here's our value from like a 0 to 100% of what we sliced, and kind of makes some information a little bit conveyed based on it. Now, it doesn't do accurate scalings because it doesn't know what the scalings are. On top of that, if you have assigned value, you'll see that value peak high and low quite rapidly when you cross the zero axis threshold, because that's how information is conveyed in numbering systems. It also doesn't do multiplex values basically at all, because any multiplex information, it doesn't have a way of deciphering, oh, that's a multiplex value, so we need to slice this, and then on that slice, we can look at the information supplied in the rest of the message. And then also, if you have floating point IEEE 754s, it doesn't do that well at all, or either. So it's used to help get a little bit of the low-hanging fruit. So if you have some values, your vehicle speeds, if you have brake pressure is typically an unsigned value. Engine speed is typically an unsigned value. Gears typically pretty it stays in the positive ranges for the most part. It helps get that information into the picture if you're having to create your own canned template, right? And there's other people you can rely on to get this canned template information. My goal is to just try to offer it to other people and say, hey, like, if you can use this tool to get what you need to do done, by all means, it's great. If not, we can dig deeper and assess it in a deeper manner. So let's dive right in and get started. Essentially, I have a shortcut on the dash, or else I can also go programs and then down here somewhere, Vbox ASC plotter tool. So we have it here. It takes a few seconds to load. Also, this software, it's going to say, hey, this software, it could be a virus, things like that. Use it at your own risk. Windows is going to freak out because they don't know who I am. I'm not a licensed author for Windows software. I'm not going to pay them exorbitant amounts of money to do so either. So it's the name of the game. I'm going to go and just start pulling. I have 3 files on my desktop here. Essentially, I have a throttle test. I have a Vbox log ASC file, and another Vbox ASC file. I don't know where these cars came from. I just pulled them off my PC, and we're gonna dig through them a little bit. So we're gonna pick our ASC file. So I'll pick we'll pick this Vbox. That's too low. Let's pick this one right here. 001. Yeah, 001 with the 1, and it's gonna run. And essentially, when it's running, it's basically loading in the data. It's going to slice and dice it into message types. And then once it goes through the messages, we're going to have a couple folders pop up inside where the file is. Since this file's on my desktop, I'm going to have folders on my desktop. I'm going to have a couple folders, most likely. One's going to be stated as figures, and the other one's going to be stated as clusters. The figures shows your slices and dices based on each message arbitration ID. The cluster shows signals that seem to be kind of correlated to each other, whether they're like, vehicle speed and, wheel speeds. Those things will be kind of clustered together, so to speak. And so it's plotting the messages, and we can actually open it up right here and see what we get. So we're just going to open it up, and I'm just going to click on a said signal. So here we go. 180. So we look at this one and I say, hey, like, this looks awfully like it's probably a vehicle speed. It doesn't look like it's throttle position, doesn't hang high. These 3 right here, they look like IMU data. So I can say, hey, these are probably IMU data. And I can see that this is also 2-byte values. So I can say, I see the signal here. It goes to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, probably 15, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yep, cool. So this would be like the first 2 bytes. And this one right here would probably be the second 2 bytes. And this one right here would be I don't know how many bits it is. It doesn't look like it's a full. It doesn't go all the way to 32. So this one would be 2 bytes. This one would be, I don't know, 1.5 bytes. This one's 1.5 bytes. This one here. And then we've got a rolling counter, it looks like right here. And that's all that's in 180. Let's see what else we got here. Boom. There's going to be vehicle speeds and wheel speeds, most likely. So you have two vehicle speeds, a wheel speed, or one vehicle speed based on like the driven or non-driven wheels, and probably two wheel speeds. So I can say, hey, like slice here, slice here, slice here. And then you got one right here that's kind of a rolling counter, it looks like, or very just anomaly of data. You could probably log it and see what you have. And then this right here, no idea. That was 284, 285, same thing. So probably 284 and 285s are wheel speeds, and then driven and non-driven averages. 354. This looks like a vehicle speed as well. So we have another vehicle speed we can play with. Let's see here. No idea. This second signal, this 8 to 23, it looks like a signed value. That's what a signed value look like, because it goes up to the top and peaks at the top, and it goes down low and peaks down low quite rapidly. Let's keep going here. No idea. It looks a lot like IMU style data. This right here, it looks like another vehicle speed 180. I think we already went over that one. Boom. Yeah, that looks like it could be. It's correlated to vehicle speed as well. That's a fair amount. So it just kind of shows an example of where you can start slicing and dicing the information. If you have no information to go off of, if you have no template to work from, you can use this to kind of play with whatever your goal is, to try to find information. Say, hey, like here's some information. It's more of a data. If you're like a data engineer, this is more on your path on helping the process. We're going to go ahead and do another one. So it's already ran and closed out. We'll do the next one, which that one was Vbox 001. Loading up. Once it loads our file in, let's go back to the desktop. Let's do, yeah, cool. Let's do this one. See what we get. So we're slicing and dicing again. But we'll look at the clusters while it's taking time. You can see that all these signals right here look about the same. It clustered them all together. So it says, hey, message ID 184, 284, and 285, and 355 all seem to have pretty similar signals. So something to be aware of. We'll close that. We got some figures now. Let's see what we got. 01F, I'm pretty common that that's a Motec sent multiplex message. That's why it looks all black for the most part. 2A as well. It's a multiplex message most likely. There's probably not too much on this message structure, but it was just something I could present and kind of help understand information. 770. So we have information being presented as well. In some regard, we can see where the slice points are, so to speak, and try to understand those slice points and say, hey, let's add a canned message. This message needs to start here, it needs to end here, factor 1, offset 0, and see what we get. If it's unsigned or signed, just look at the signal and kind of understand where it's at and say, okay, it makes sense that would be signed or unsigned. Let's see what else we got. So this one right here looks like engine speed right there. This looks like it may be 16 to 56. It's not indicative. It didn't have enough gap or changes in the message to think that it needs to be sliced, but you can see a definitive slice point from here in each byte. Yeah, that's That's pretty much it. It's nothing wild. I mean, truth be told, it's probably low-hanging fruit for most people. Most people probably won't use it. But if you have a new car, a new application, and you absolutely are starting with nothing, this should give you something to work with. So you can just log all messages to the file within Vbox under Vbox Video, but go into the CAN settings and checking log messages to file, and then start playing with things. And if you really are truly starting at zero, what I try to do is kind of start with, not any signals moving, like, right. So if I'm trying to look for brake pressure, I want to have everything else as standstill as possible and just play with the brake pressure. So then I can say, hey, I found brake pressure because it's the only thing moving in my plotted graphs. And yeah, if it's, I'm hoping that it becomes beneficial to, there's a few people that have used it with me, or I've used it for in the past. Hopefully it'll help them get what they need. And, and if not, I'm still a resource. Vbox is also a resource. We can reverse engineer this stuff, with relative ease for the most part. But, sometimes we are throwing some challenges. But my goal is to say, hey, if it's not a challenge, by all means do it. You can do it yourself. And, I am enthusiastic about educating people to get them to the next level. And this is just one of the steps that I'm taking to do so. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the comments section below. You can find me in just about, Facebook's probably the easiest way to find me, at Mitch Minton. And if you have any questions, we'll see you, and, just follow up as you need. See you in the next video. Have a good one.